What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, we're going to talk about the concept art that was released. This is a couple weeks old at this point. I'm sorry I'm behind the 8 ball, but I do want to talk about this concept image, talk about this Arkham game, and really what it means, because I think there's some lessons to be learned here. Now, I do want to be very, very transparent. I do know Degenerate Jay made this video. I have not yet watched it. I didn't want to watch it because I knew I was going to make a similar video. If you guys have not checked out his, maybe we're going to say some of the same things, maybe we're going to say some different things, but I am aware, I'm not stealing it from him, I am aware this happened. People have been asking me for my opinions, and I have seen this for a long time. Like I said, this has been out in the wild for several weeks now. So what do we got? Well, we have an official concept artist that was working on a Batman game, seemingly for, now I would imagine Warner Bros. Montreal, but it doesn't necessarily have to be, and he was making this Batman art, and we see the pictures of it. Looks, I think, honestly incredible. Really, really cool. And it's kind of a cross, I would say, between a Flashpoint slash just kind of continuation of the Arkham games. I think this was, it could not be an Arkham game, but remember, all of the leaks that we had heard. Now, the leaks end up being, in the end game, end up being pretty darn wrong, which I guess are important notes to kind of mark down, right? Remember, up until, I would say, the week of, as we were getting these teasers for Gotham Knights, look, all the rumors, all the leaks, people were calling it the Batman game. People were saying that he was one of the 4 Gotham Knights, right? Literally everybody was saying that. Honestly, in a way hilarious, and in other ways sad that happened. But again, this is why I kind of want to talk about this, because there's a part to talk about on, oh man, what it could have been, how cool, Batman looks, right, in the picture. But we know it was for a canceled game. He said this is for a canceled game he was working on. In the tags, he has hashtags on them. Arkham is one of those tags, but Batman Beyond is also one of them. So, you look at it and you say, okay, well, that Damian Wayne Batman game, or Arkham Legacy, or Arkham Insurgency, remember that was a title, all of these different names, they're all starting to add up to, yeah, this was definitely a game they were working on where you were going to be playing it. Now, again, whether it was a Flashpoint kind of Batman, or whether it was Bruce after Arkham Knight, what happened in Arkham Knight, but I do think it was an Arkham. Again, everybody was calling it, there was a lot of different code names for it, not even necessarily, now I wouldn't even call them code names, actually, they were more like probably official kind of names that they were going to do with Insurgency, Legacy, all this kind of stuff. And now remember, we know that there were canceled Batman games. They're like the worst kept secrets of all time. The funny thing is, and this is really where I want to steer this video, is again with gaming developers lying to us. And I think it's such an important note to let you guys know, right? I think a lot of people that watch these videos, I think a lot of you guys are very savvy, very smart, and I think it's kind of because we share this knowledge with each other that, look, we all have to be aware that this stuff happens. You look at what Gotham Knights, or Warner Bros. Montreal, look at what they're saying in all the interviews they did. So Gotham Knights was, announced, okay, they showed the trailer, had the gameplay, they did their media tour, and then they went silent, just like I said, and in this media tour, oftentimes they were asked if this was always going to be the game, if they had always planned it to be. A lot of questions were did you plan it to be like a co-op game, stuff like that, but also like, was this ever supposed to be an Arkham game? Were you ever doing an Arkham game and then you switched over to this? Now, firstly, those are very easy questions. Like, those are kind of layup questions that I think are just generally too easy, that the because gaming journalism, don't forget, is all about, I think, in the day and age, firstly, it's about politics, and secondly, it's about being nice to each other and not, actually going after news or not upsetting people. I don't like Jason Schreier as a person, but he does make good points when he says, gaming journalism, when you find out these things, when you find leaks and rumors and stuff, you're supposed to make people mad. Like, if people aren't mad at you for finding something, then are you really doing any actual digging? I saw he did that in an interview with Colin Moriarty years ago, and I remember that quote. That's something very important, right? So while I don't like him as a person, and I think also he's very hypocritical in a lot of other things, he does actually dig, and everybody really in the gaming industry doesn't necessarily like the guy, but it's because he actually gets down to it. So what's the point here? Well, the point is, look, you have Gotham Knights, you have them saying that this was always going to be the game they were going to make, that they always designed it for that. That is a flat out lie. And so when you look at, okay, we just talked 2 days ago about, or actually Monday, right, about Gordon. Is he actually dead. When we talk about Batman and people saying, they don't think he's dead, and then you have the people that are, and those people I just don't understand. The people that are attacking those that are saying that Batman could be alive and we should give it, the time of day. The people attacking it's like, I really don't know why, because they have a history of lying. We know game developers lie in general, and now here's literally one of the most ultimate lies to put on board. Again, we know there were Batman games. We know. I mean, yes, we all called Gotham Knights a Batman game, but we all knew that there was officially Batman games in the works. They were canceled. We knew that. Remember, we knew that back like last October when everybody said, oh my dear God, Arkham Legacy, it was canceled today. They're restarting. They're going to have a game in 5. You remember that? Absolute catastrophe. I mean, that was literally the start of it. So you look at that as another example of, well, firstly, there's just no way that game was actually canceled in the moment, but now connect the dots. Arkham Legacy, that Batman that was, with that, and then you have this guy's picture, and I mean, they line up, I would say, pretty darn well. So we know he was making a Batman for a Batman game. Not necessarily ideally, but it seems like it was an Arkham game. And again, he tagged it. So yes, you could just tag it because Arkham is still a popular search term. Funny enough, in the YouTube algorithm, okay, now I don't do this. Obviously, you guys see the titles. I don't call it like a Batman Arkham game now that it's not. But the name Batman Arkham is still a very searched thing. And even like Batman Gotham Knights is actually, in some ways, more searched than just the name Gotham Knights. People are actually putting like Batman as like the main title to it, and that's actually a very well searched thing. So the fact that he put Arkham in the tag on Instagram, that doesn't necessarily mean it was an Arkham game. It could just be he knows that Arkham is a popular tag that a lot of people look at. He seems very, very smart, right? So obviously that could be the case. But I do think this was an Arkham game. But again, we can sit here and talk about all day long what this game could have been. I think it could have been a really, really awesome game. Bottom line, it is kind of sad, right? Because we know a little bit about what the game was going to be, about, the kind of setting, who would be in it, stuff like that. I mean, it looked, it sounded very, very promising. And obviously, again, we know it was canceled. But this just adds on to, again, the overall discussion that game developer, I don't know how much more I need to drive it in people, but some people still don't, get that. Game developers lie all the time. So just because they tell you one thing, does not mean it can't be another thing. It absolutely can. And you see it as the best example here where this is basically confirmation that there was a Batman game in the works. Add that to the Arkham, again, titles that have been floating around for like 2-3 years. Add it to the rumors of a canceled Batman game. All of that added up. And again, what has Warner Bros. And I really, that's kind of thing. Remember, for months and even years that I've been talking about this, I said that one day I would like them to be able to say what they, now maybe they can't. Maybe it's an NDA, they can't say what they were doing for all those years. But I mean, again, these easy questions that IGN, GameSpot, that these kind of guys give them, where it's like, yeah, so you've been working on Gotham Knights for 7 years, right? Didn't say that, but the way they word it is like, okay, was this always meant to be Gotham Knights? Yes. Oh, so you've been making this game since Origins? Well, and if you asked them that, and they said yes, that's the biggest lie of their life. If they said no, then you'd say, oh, okay, well, that makes sense because we know that they had canceled. Remember, Wonder Woman, Suicide Squad, and then that jumped over to Rocksteady. There's a long history of canceled games in there, and Batman Arkham is absolutely one of them. In fact, remember, my hypothesis this entire time, and I've said this numerous times, and again, one day it's gonna look really good. Remember, I had said that I believe the plan with Warner Bros. Montreal was they made Origins. They either made the decision on their own or they got the approval from Warner Bros. Where they said, okay, you can make a new game, or we want to make a new game. We don't want to be tied to the Arkham games. So they did. They tried Wonder Woman. That didn't work. They tried Suicide Squad. That could have been in reverse order. Sorry, that didn't work. Okay, so neither of those worked. Then they said, dear God, we've been sitting here, fiddling our thumbs for years. We don't have a product. That's not good. Like, we need to start making something. Then they probably either came up with it on their own, or Warner Bros. Said and came to them and said, you know what? Go back to the Arkham games. Like, it worked. Make this Damian Wayne, make this Batman Beyond kind of game, and then go from there. They did that. They canceled that one, and then they caught wind of Anthem and they caught wind of all of these other kind of. Now again, I'm not going to compare it to all that stuff, but they caught wind of the cooperative kind of thing, and they said, okay, let's make Gotham Knights. That's what I think. Now the Gotham Knights part is new. I always had said that basically the first 90% of what I just said. I've always said that. So I think there is a lot of info to back that up, but that's just more fuel to the fire, honestly, that they lie. They lie. They absolutely were making a Batman game. If they want to say that they weren't, if they want to say Gotham Knights was always the thing, that's just another lie to add to the rest. And again, I'm not saying like, oh my God, they're chronic liars. Like you can't buy their games, you can't support them. No, it's just a thing where like it adds to the Batman stuff. Batman being dead. I mean, they can say he's dead, 50,000 times in all these interviews. Doesn't mean a lot. Were you making a Batman game? You have to answer me, Warner Bros. You know what I mean? Like if they can't do that, so why would they be able to do Batman? So in my opinion, that's the biggest takeaway from this, besides the fact that there was this canceled game that looked pretty darn cool in terms of concept. So, guys, let me know in the comments below, what do you think? Does this add to your mind that they are just, absolute liars? Again, in not a malicious way, in a way where they kind of have to be. But let me know your thoughts on this game in the comments below. As always, make sure you guys are subscribed to this YouTube channel, podcast now. Hit the bell icon so you guys know when all these videos go up. And I'm going to continue this little schedule I got going Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Monday is Batman Day. Let's see what they got. I'll be making a video no matter what, if they do something, if they don't do something, and then we'll take it from there, okay? Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you all on Monday's Gotham Knights video.